Hello everyone, I'm here at TFcon 2014 in the Artist Alley speaking with Marvin Mariano. And just wondering if you could introduce yourself to the audience, what it is you've done in toy design and art, other such things.
Okay. Well, as I said, my name is Marvin Mariano. I'm a toy designer, concept illustrator, freelance artist for Hasbro. So what I'm saying known for is doing toy designs for Beast Machines, Trans-Tech, Armada, and concept toy designs and board games for Hasbro.
Well, on the toy design side of Transformers, I know that I've spoken to a couple of freelance artists who have been tapped for doing toy design for Transformers, other such Hasbro lines.
Right.
What was the first point of contact you had that led you to working with Hasbro on stuff like, for instance, I see you worked on the Star Wars Transformers Yoda, which was, in my opinion, the high point of the line.
Yes. Well, for me, it's probably one of the biggest claim to fame is that I'm the guy who designed Yoda Transformer, right? So mind you, on the concept stage, the idea was already, originally concept by Hasbro, and all I came in is come up with a design that trying to merge the animated Yoda to the actual movie version.
Yeah.
Right? So it was a fun job.
Well, the way that toy came out, it's that head sculpt that really brings it together. Like even in the line art, just this kind of glowering mechanical Yoda. Like all of the mirth is gone from his face. He just is the wizened old angry guy who's now a giant robot.
Yes. Well, it's a very interesting process of turning an old green Jedi Master into a Transformer.
Yeah.
It was a fun process, but it was very interesting from that stage to the final rendition, because essentially it's the final product that the end part, which is the Japanese or the end of the line, they turned that concept into the final mode.
And with Star Wars Transformers, because that it was a very interesting line when it was in its heyday.
It was very niche.
Yeah, like mixing those two properties together.
Yeah.
For input from Hasbro's end, like when they told you what they wanted you to design,
right,
was it just make us a robot Yoda, or was there anything else? Like were they saying it's a piloted Yoda, it's just a big living robot Yoda?
Well, it actually went through two versions. So the first stage was very animated version. And then as soon as they saw the design, the direction went from that to, okay, now let's stick to a more like realistic at how we see it with the toys. So it's much closer to the toys. So hence it's more less animated, you could say.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So and then when you see the toy product, he's a little bit more stocky than when he's proportionate, right?
Yeah.
So.
And I noticed also just from the poster, you've worked on a few of the other Star Wars guys.
The first project I got from them was the Magna Guard. A TIE Bomber.
TIE Bomber.
A TIE Bomber, right? And he was my first project in the crossover line.
Yeah.
So soon afterwards, I received the Magna Guard and then Yoda henceforth.
Yeah, it was a really interesting, just from a design perspective, line to see trying to get those visual cues from the costumes out in the vehicles, like with the TIE Bomber, like seeing some of the chest work, kind of reminding you of the flight pack that the pilot would have on his chest.
Actually, because Star Wars is also very mechanically inclined in terms of the ships, it was actually very easy to turn some of these guys into the robots.
Yeah.
So Yoda was pretty much the hardest one of all of them.
Yeah. No, I mean I think that Yoda turned out great. I'm actually pretty excited to speak to someone who worked on that thing. Myself and a friend of mine, both on the TFW podcast, were very surprised by how much we enjoyed that figure, just the personality it had. So moving on from Star Wars Transformers, just what else I see here in the Transformers realm, it looks like you worked on a lot of Beast Machine stuff and some of the Rescue Bot stuff as well.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's the project started way back in Beast Machines, late 1999. And Rescue Bots is pretty much the latest that I've worked on, and it's geared towards the kids, age 3 and 7. It's a lot of fun. The design is a lot more basic.
Yeah.
Right? So they don't have to go too crazy with the design. So, right. So,
seems like the kind of thing where you just try to pull as much personality out as you can from a limited space.
No, basically, right. And transformation-wise, it's a 1-2 like mode.
Yeah.
Essentially, right.
So with your input on the transformation end of things, 'cause I love speaking to people who try to think of just the logic of getting one shape to turn to another.
Yeah.
Do you have a particular process you use for that, or you just kind of stare at it a bit?
I just stare at it a bit, and I'll just dissect it visually, and I'll look at some parts. I'm like, okay, maybe that part of the wheel will turn into part of the shoulder, and henceforth, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, mind you, there's all tons of transformers that's already. I could just go online and even refer to that. Right, but a lot of times I just stare at it and then go from there.
It must be an interesting style of design, like not just having to come up with the look of a character, but also its alternate form and how it gets there.
Right.
Do you do design work outside of Transformers and other toy lines, or just in general?
Well, toy designs as in other companies like Lego and Barbie and that kind of thing. So and G.I. Joe as well.
Oh, you worked on G.I. Joe.
I worked on G.I. Joe.
Any particular projects in that you can share? Or?
Pretty much any line from 2000 to 2005.
Okay, cool.
Valor versus Venom.
One of them,
right? I forget now the other one, so it's been almost a decade already.
Yeah.
But I worked on a lot for the G.I. line. Predominantly, it's the package art part of it.
Yeah.
So that was a good experience.
Cool. So you've got quite a sounds like a wide breadth of experience working with the toy industry.
It's pretty much under Hasbro, because Hasbro has a lot of toy designs under them.
Okay, so primarily Hasbro projects.
Primarily, yeah.
Okay.
So.
Well, moving outside of toys,
Yeah.
what's some other stuff you work on, just in general as an artist? Like what's a passion project you have, for instance?
Passion project? Well, I'm putting together an art book, an art of book, basically. So it's been compiling up a lot of old artwork that nobody has seen before. Perhaps unused concepts that I'm putting in myself, and so that's what's one of them.
Yeah.
Right? But aside from that, it's art side is outside of toy designs. I work as a professional tattoo artist.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's a scene I've kind of spectated from very far, but I've always been curious about, because it's like that's got to be a very different kind of art, like knowing you're leaving a lasting impression, if you will, on someone.
Yeah. Well, it's very different. Like seeing a toy that you designed to seeing on paper, on skin is much different. Right? It's just a living, breathing canvas.
Yeah.
So what better way of advertising your artwork on somebody who's a fan of the artwork or the tattoo?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, it's also a tattoo is often more personal a thing for the person who's receiving it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think as an artist, it's probably one of the highest forms for achieving your level of artistry.
Yeah, because I mean you're party to something that someone wants to remember for pretty much the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Pretty much, right? So and they take the artwork to their grave,
Yeah.
So. Right.
So that's got to be interesting, just to have such wide breadth of experience, like anything from toy design to tattoo art.
Well, I like to think that I'm a type of artist. I'm a very diverse artist, so I like to stick to different mediums, and when I do try something, I go on it full on.
Yeah.
Right? So.
And with just for one last bit, coming back to toy design, for any artist out there who might be burgeoning, hoping to specifically get in touch with a toy company and move into freelancing design, is there a certain path one should follow, or is it just get a good portfolio and go for it?
Well, basically a good portfolio, and focus on your strengths, which is if you want to be a mechanical artist, or mechanical being the Transformers, for example, or character designer. Character designer that could range from doing figurative like G.I. Joe or any other type of characters.
With your book that you're hoping to work on, and if you're saying you're going to use, say, unused designs, how long is a typical moratorium on a toy design? Is there a usual length before you can share it with the public, or share it, say, on a display here?
Yeah, well, I have my Instagram, which is Marvision Art. So I post daily there. So when you see a snippet of upcoming images, I pretty much announce it on my site.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
Hope you're having a good time here at TFcon. It's a bit dry over here on this part of the building, but we got to make do.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to seeing some more of your work. I'll definitely take a look. We're going to have some footage of your booth here.
Well, you'll be seeing me every year for TFcon. So.
Oh, fantastic!
So,
I love speaking to people who work in the design side of things. I've spoken with Marcelo Matir a couple times as well.
Okay.
And your guys' perspective on this, especially as freelancers, I think is unique and valuable to the insight on the whole design process.
Yeah. So, well, I love it. I love it. It's. I never thought that I would be on that end of. I'll be in that part of that culture, you know, doing the designs for the toys.
Yeah.
You know, when you're a little kid, you're going to toy stores and you never wonder, like, oh, there are guys that actually sit down and for hours and labor on coming up with these things, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, do you ever have that moment when you're walking down a toy aisle, for instance, you see something you worked on and kind of go like,
yes, actually, quite a few times I would go to a toy store and knowing that, oh, you know what, I think my toy is out. I'm just gonna check out the alley and see it. And when I do see it, it's like, and there's people around it are either there and they're oblivious to it, like, oh, I'm the guy who designed that.
Yeah, right? It's kind of cool. It must be cool, like seeing it's like a form of a gallery almost. It
is cool.
That's mine. That's
it. Yeah. Right? But at the same time, it's I go there and wow, it's but I should have this by now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, cool. Like I said, thanks very much for your time, and I hope to see you at future TFcons. I'd love to speak to you some more about just how things go on the side of the toy designer, and love to know more about your art book as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I appreciate that interview.
All right, thanks very much.
Thank you.